Obamacare, your handbook for the new health care law, Betsy McCaughey. And Betsy, I mean, we got to look at this book, first of all, because
here it is.
I'm thinking you don't need to go to the gym. You carry this thing around with you everywhere. I don't know how many pounds it is.
It's 2,572 pages. I haven't weighed it. But this is only the beginning, because if you look at my desk, stacked up on either side, are all the regulations being issued in the Federal Register.
You couldn't carry all of them.
Thousands of pages. Oh, no, couldn't possibly carry them all. And yet, people who are running businesses, doctors and others, have to actually know what's in that Federal Register.
I know. So we started, October 1st came and went, and now we've got these exchanges, and there are glitches. And I kind of expected that, because, I mean, anytime you roll out something this big, there's going to be some issues. But at this point, what gets me is that the confusion. Jimmy Kimmel did a thing the other night about asking people that if they like the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, and people picked one over the other.
Right.
It's right. Hilarious, but
well, in fact, there is a difference, because you've heard the president say many times, it's settled law. It was passed by the House, passed by the Senate, signed into law by the president, vetted by the Supreme Court. But the program he's imposing on us now is not the Affordable Care Act. Gone are the employer mandates. Gone is the cap on out-of-pocket expenses. Gone is income verification for people who go to the exchanges to get a subsidy.
Right.
Gone, in fact, are over half the deadlines in this law. And then added to it are 1,472 waivers, right? Plus a special deal the president weaseled for members of Congress so that they get the taxpayer to pay their Obamacare premium,
right,
even though they earn $174,000.
So the law that passed is not
what's being imposed now. And that's a very important distinction, because the president has really violated the Constitution by doing that. The Supreme Court has ruled twice, under Nixon and under Clinton.
Then
presidents cannot materially change a law all by themselves.
Then we'll have a series of more lawsuits.
They're already being filed.
One of the things about this Political report earlier this week was very interesting about how Daniel Patrick Moynihan went to Bill and Hillary Clinton when they were doing Hillary Care and said massive changes, major legislation will never work, they'll be repealed, it will fail unless you get 70-30 approval. You have to have bipartisan approval for massive changes in the law.
And that's why you see the House, which over the last 2 weeks has fought very hard on something called the continuing resolution, the spending bill. And the reason is that under our Constitution, the House has the power of the purse, the power to determine when we tax, when we borrow, and when we spend. And for 226 years, the rule has been that the House uses that power to impose its views on the president.
All right, but the president also has the bully pulpit, and he gets up and he gets, that's what most people who are not, and the numbers, Kaiser Foundation and others, unbelievable the number of people who have not followed this, don't know anything about it. People that have tried to follow it, other than you're the only person in the country who is not confused by this. It's full of confusion. So the question is, will this be embraced? There'll be some people that will embrace it because they've got pre-existing conditions.
Okay, you've got two things that are pushing hard against the public embracing it. One is sticker shock. Not only are the premiums very high, but when people went on the websites the first day to actually enroll, only 0.5% of people enrolled. And the reason is, major reason, they discovered that these plans, which are very costly, have a $3,000 deductible for the Silver plan, the second most least expensive, a $5,000 deductible for the Bronze plan.
Just to make sure that I don't want to dumb this down, but just to make sure, I'm paying for insurance, I'm paying my premium. Everybody's focused on the premium, but the insurance doesn't pay a dime of my medical bills until I get to $3,000 or $5,000.
Exactly. So that means that the young man who's 30 years old and paying for this insurance every month is likely never going to get a nickel back, because young people that age, especially men, don't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
He might as well be making a car payment.
What's going to happen to this?
You're going to see big defaults.
What's going to happen to this legislation?
Well, first,
I contend you have to wait.
You're going to see big defaults. They're going to sign people up, bamboozle them into signing them up. And then after 2 or 3 months, that young man is going to say, gee, I could be making a car payment, so I'm going to stop paying. Remember the mortgage defaults? Remember the college loan defaults? This is going to be bigger. Millions of people who signed up and then realized they're not getting anything back.
Nothing is going to change for the next 3 years. This is the president's signature piece of legislation. It's got his name on it almost.
Well, it's already changing very rapidly as the president himself changes it. What you're suggesting is that he won't give Congress the leeway to change it. Is that what you're saying?
He's not going to let him.
Right.
Nothing's going to change.
Well, there's certainly a lot changing in the workplace. As one of the labor union leaders said, it's the demise of the 40-hour work week. That's a huge change because of this. Because employers with 50 or more full-time workers, have to provide coverage or get whacked with a big penalty. So they're pushing their workforce.
That's been delayed. That's been delayed.
Only a year. But yeah. I looked at the first 7 months of this year, 77% of the jobs created were part-time. That's unprecedented in our economy.
Well, I always appreciate when you bring your knowledge, because like I said, you're the only person in the country I know who's not totally confused by this whole bill. But Betsy McCaughey,
thank you
so much for coming in.